Right now, inside every single cell in your body, a war is being lost. Not slowly, not painlessly. Every decade past the age of 30, your cells are running out of fuel, not food, not oxygen, something far more fundamental. A molecule so critical that without it, your DNA cannot repair itself, your mitochondria stop firing at full capacity, and your brain begins its slow, quiet unraveling. Scientists have known about this molecule for decades. Billionaires are quietly injecting it into their veins. Harvard researchers are writing papers about it in hushed urgency, and somehow it never makes it to your doctor's office. The name of this molecule is N8-LUM. And what's happening to yours right now is something nobody in mainstream medicine wants to talk about. How your cells are being drained. Here is the dark truth about aging that the pharmaceutical industry has very little financial incentive to tell you. Aging is not random. It is not simply the passage of time. At its core, aging is a systematic collapse of cellular energy, and NADPH, or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, is the molecule sitting at the epicenter of that collapse. By the time a person reaches 50, their NADPH levels have fallen to roughly half of what they were in youth. By 80, those levels can drop to as low as 1 to 10% of youthful concentrations. That number should terrify anyone who understands what NADPH actually does inside the body. It powers over 500 enzymatic reactions. It activates the sirtuins, proteins often called the longevity genes, that protect and repair DNA. It fuels the mitochondria, the power plants of the cell. It regulates inflammation. It controls how well your immune system ages alongside you. When NADPH drops, everything drops with it. Mitochondria become inefficient, producing more cellular waste and less energy. DNA damage accumulates faster than the body can repair it. Inflammation creeps upward in a process scientists now call inflammaging, a slow, smoldering fire that silently burns through tissue and organ function across decades. Cognitive decline accelerates, muscles weaken, cardiovascular resilience fades. This is not metaphor. This is measurable, documented cellular mechanics. And the molecule at the center of it all is one your body makes less and less of with absolutely no warning. So what is draining it? Two culprits dominate. First, as the body ages, a rogue enzyme called CD38 becomes increasingly active. CD38 is a molecular glutton. It consumes NAD at a staggering rate, and its activity climbs steadily with age. Senescent cells, the so-called zombie cells that accumulate in tissues over time, drive this process further by secreting inflammatory signals that simultaneously suppress NAD's production and ramp up its destruction. The result is a biochemical siege on your own longevity, and it begins decades before most people even consider thinking about their health. The biohackers who refuse to let it happen. This is where the story shifts. Because while the mainstream medical establishment quietly overlooked this mechanism, a small circle of scientists and biohackers decided to fight back. Harvard Medical School genetics professor Dr. David Sinclair became the most publicly recognized figure in this war.
It's a gram. A typical diabetic will take somewhere between a gram and 2 grams. So it's...
His research, stretching across decades of laboratory work and published in some of the most respected scientific journals on Earth, pointed to one conclusion: restoring N8 levels was not just possible. It might be one of the most powerful anti-aging interventions ever identified. Sinclair's personal protocol centers on MMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, a direct precursor molecule that the body rapidly converts into NAD-SA. He has stated publicly that taking 1 gram of NMN each morning, combined with resveratrol, doubles his NADA levels. At his age, he says, his blood markers resemble those of someone decades younger. Then there is Brian Johnson, the tech entrepreneur who sold his company for $800 million.
5 minutes, the basic health habits that are going to make you feel the best you've ever done. I'm not going to get into the scientific...
And then turned his entire life into a longevity experiment. Johnson's blueprint protocol is obsessive in its precision. He measures everything: air quality, sleep cycles, gut microbiome, biological age markers. And at the core of his supplement regimen sits NADPH restoration. Johnson alternates between NMN and its cousin NR, and the results have been startling enough to attract global media coverage. His own blood tests showed NAD levels equivalent to a 16-year-old, despite being in his mid-40s. He has documented a reversal of biological age markers by up to 26 years in a 9-month period. To be clear, this is self-reported biometric data, not a controlled clinical trial. But the underlying science it rests on is real, rigorous, and growing. Animal studies across multiple species, yeast, worms, mice, have repeatedly demonstrated that restoring NADs extends lifespan. Human clinical trials are catching up fast. One study showed that MN supplementation improved muscle insulin sensitivity in prediabetic women. Another documented improvements in arterial stiffness. Research with nicotinamide riboside, a related NAD+ precursor, showed reduced blood pressure in middle-aged and older adults after just 6 weeks. A clinical trial in older adults found that NR supplementation elevated NAD+ levels in blood and triggered anti-inflammatory responses, producing what researchers described as a shift in biological age markers. The evidence is not yet complete, but it is compelling enough that the most serious minds in aging biology have staked their careers on it. What science and biohackers actually do. So what does a science-backed, actionable NAD restoration protocol actually look like? The biohacking world has converged on a few consistent pillars that align with what clinical research is beginning to validate. First, the most studied approach involves supplementing with NAD+ precursors, specifically NMN or NRR. Both effectively raise cellular NAD levels. David Sinclair takes 1 gram of NMN daily, mixed into yogurt with resveratrol for absorption. Brian Johnson supplements 6 days a week at 500 milligrams. The resveratrol pairing matters. Resveratrol activates sirtuins, the very proteins that NAD+ powers. Together, they create a synergistic effect that neither compound achieves alone. Second, lifestyle interventions measurably raise NADs through completely accessible means. Intermittent fasting triggers cellular processes that increase NAD biosynthesis. Regular high-intensity exercise boosts NAD levels by improving mitochondrial function and stimulating the body's own production machinery. These are not biohacking luxuries. These are the kinds of inputs the body was designed to respond to, and modern sedentary, overf lifestyles have been stripping them away for generations. Third, the emerging frontier involves targeting CD38, the enzyme that destroys NAD+. Early research into CD38 inhibitors has shown dramatic results in animal models. Mice with CD38 blocked maintain significantly higher NAD+ levels throughout aging. Researchers are now pursuing compounds that can safely reduce CD38 activity in humans without disrupting its other immune functions. This is still experimental territory, but it represents the next evolutionary step in the science. The deeper message here is not simply about a supplement. It is about a paradigm shift in how humanity understands aging. For centuries, aging was treated as inevitable, a clockwork decline beyond any meaningful influence. What the science of NAD+ is revealing is something far more profound. Aging, at least in part, is a resource problem. The cells have the machinery to maintain themselves far longer than they do. They are simply running out of the molecular fuel required to run that machinery at full capacity. The scientists who have committed their careers to this work are not selling miracle cures. They are documenting a fundamental biological mechanism with growing precision and urgency. The biohackers tracking their own biomarkers are not eccentric outliers. They are the early adopters of a science that is quietly reshaping what it means to grow old. The molecule is real, the decline is real, and the intervention, still imperfect, still evolving, is more within reach than any pharmaceutical lobby would prefer the public to know.